If you are 59 and a half or older and you're still working, then you need to know about this strategy that's out there. It is a huge opportunity for those to basically find other options for their 401k while they're still working. And this strategy is called an in-service withdrawal.
Joe knows taxes.
Joe knows the market.
Joe knows Social Security.
Joe knows income planning.
Joe knows pickleball? No.
This is Joe Knows Retirement.
So with an in-service withdrawal, this is simply when you're still working, you're 59 and a half or older, then most 401k plans or your current employer retirement plans will allow you to move that 401k to an IRA. Now, why would you do that? Especially when 401ks can be advantageous for many people. They can be low cost, they can be simple, they can be easy. But there may be better opportunities out there. And so when we look at a typical 401k, some of the weaknesses that come are, well, one, you could be paying higher fees there depending on where it's held and what you're invested in. You may be invested in mutual funds that have added internal expenses. And on top of that, you may only have so many investment options that you have to choose from. And so that may not always be advantageous for you. And we've seen clients personally that we've worked with where they've had 401ks where, they're 59 and they're still working, and we are just waiting for that time of 59 and a half to come so we can take that investment they have and move it to something that may be better for them. For example, they had a stable value. One of our clients had a stable value fund within their 401k, and it was yielding them about 3%. What was the idea there? So no chance of loss, but 3%, no market risk. Well, we were able to take that investment and find something else out there for them where we could get close to 6% guaranteed rate of return with no market risk. And so those are the type of opportunities where, hey, if you have $500,000 that's here, well, $500,000 at 3% per year, you're going to gain $15,000 per year. That's everyone likes to earn money. Well, if you have it growing at 6%, well, now you're making $30,000 per year. And we all know the value of compound interest of when you have it over a longer period of time, and when that 30,000 can grow off of that versus only off of 15,000, you're going to end up with a lot more over time, especially if you're 59 and a half. You're going to have a long retirement ahead of you is what we would expect. You may have a 30-year retirement ahead of you that we need to make sure we're planning for, with inflation being a big concern, with Medicare costs potentially rising, with Social Security potentially getting reduced. All of these things are going to add up to maximize your current situation. So those are some of the things we want to look at when it comes to those investment options. But just know, in an IRA, you can invest in whatever you want. Now you have any type of investment. Maybe if your 401k only offers mutual funds that have added costs, well, maybe you can move that over and get individual stocks which have no cost, or maybe you can invest in index funds or ETFs which have very little cost. Or you could look at other protected vehicles like treasuries or money markets or CDs or annuities. There's all these different other options out there that you can have at your fingertips. And so something that we do with our clients that we work with, so we are an independent financial planning firm that specializes in helping those between the ages of about 55 to 70. And what we do with our clients is we sit down with them and we see, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? How much money do we want to look to spend each year? Do we plan to spend more early on in our retirement versus later on in our retirement? Do we want to retire early? Are we risk adverse? Are we okay having a ton of risk in our investments? Those are the things that we decide, and then we sit on the same side of the table as our clients to decide, hey, here's the options out there that best suit what you're looking for based on your goals. And so that's what you really want to do, is just invest accordingly to what you're trying to achieve. We have some clients that have everything in growth-oriented types investments. We have other clients who have everything in protected type investments. And we have some that are in between. And so again, it just comes down to what is your personality, what do you want, and what do you need to achieve your goals. Most of our clients have, over $1 million saved up at this point. They may not need to take on as much risk as someone who's in their 30s. They may want less risk at this point because they have enough money. They just need a better plan to make sure they don't have any risks that ruin their plan. Or you could look at the other way that, well, they could take as much risk as they want to because they've achieved their goals. And even if the market does get cut in half, they're still going to be able to achieve their goals. It can be seen both ways. Again, it's come down to personal preference of what you want to see. Are you going to be the type of person that you see your investments go down 50% and you're going to freak out? Well, if so, you may want to look at other protected options. Or if you're the type of person where market goes down 50% and you go, where can I find more money to invest? Well, then maybe you're okay taking on amount of risk to get that higher potential return. But as we all know, the more risk you take, the more return you're going to be likely to get. Now, in today's marketplace, with interest rates higher right now, you do have a very good opportunity to take a lesser risk, but maybe get a pretty decent return, reasonable rate of return of maybe 5 to 6% if you can find those types of protected vehicles out there for you. And for some of our clients, they go, hey, if I can get 6% a year without having to worry about my investments taken every year, I like that idea. So you just have to look and see what is going to be best for you is what we would recommend there. Now, the other opportunity that comes with this in-service withdrawal opportunity is you can do things such as Roth conversions in an IRA that you may not be able to do in a 401k. So some 401ks will allow you to do in-plan Roth conversions. For our clients who are between the ages of 55 to 59 and a half, that's something we're usually trying to look to implement with them. But if they don't have that opportunity, we just have to wait until we're 59 and a half to be able to implement a Roth conversion. So a Roth conversion is when you move your traditional 401k to a Roth IRA or Roth 401k. And so the idea of this is when you put in $10,000 into that traditional 401k, you got a tax deduction. You save money today. But because of that, as this investment grows, let's say it grows to $100,000 and you take out $100,000, well, now you have to pay tax on that full $100,000. So you saved on $10,000, but now you're paying on $100,000. That's going to be a big tax burden for you in your retirement, especially when Social Security is going to be received as well. And now you're probably going to have to pay taxes on your Social Security. So we're seeing what we're seeing from a lot of people who want to be tax smart is, let's get ahead of this. Tax rates are on sale right now. Tax rates are set to go up in 2026 due to the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act expiring. A lot of people are seeing the opportunity this year and next year, while tax rates are lower, to start moving some of this money over. Now, if we do that, we have to pay taxes, but let's do it now at the lower rates versus later when they potentially will be higher. Now, the tax code's written in pencil. We don't know what it's going to be, but we do know that tax rates have been historically much higher than they are now, and we do know we're $35 trillion in debt. We do know our country likes to spend. We do know Social Security and Medicare are underfunded, and so what do you expect tax rates to do moving forward? Well, that's what you have to make sure you're making that decision of. For a lot of our clients, they think tax rates are going higher. We do as well. We have a lot of research and to prove that, and so that's where we're planning on, hey, let's make sure we're taking advantage of these years now while we can, and take advantage of other opportunities that a Roth has. There's no RMD on a Roth. They're with a Roth, you can pass it on to your spouse when they're going to be subject to the widow's penalty, where they're potentially going to have to pay double the amount of taxes because they go from married filing jointly to single. Now you have the opportunity of them taking withdrawals tax-free, and then that's going to allow them to be in lower brackets when their income, maybe pushing them up to higher brackets in that instance. Or if your goal is to leave money to a kid or a child, then they can now take this Roth over 10 years, because that's the new rules. You have to take an IRA or a Roth over 10 years. But now they don't have to pay taxes on it, and they can let it grow continually tax-free even when you pass, instead of having that raise their income at that point in their life. So those are just some of the opportunities that a Roth presents itself. You need to make sure you're getting doing your due diligence on your situation and getting the right advice of what you should do, because not everyone should do a Roth conversion. And we're a big believer that the more you have saved up, the more you should probably be looking at Roth conversions. But if you have, for example, $250,000 or less, a Roth conversion may not make as much sense for you. But if you have $250,000 or more, that's when we're typically starting to recommend or start seeing people want to take advantage of Roth conversions, because they're going to expect their tax burden in retirement to be much more. So that's just a real summary of the Roth conversion. But the other thing to think about is, there is no limits on a Roth conversion. So if you do this in-service withdrawal, let's say you have $1 million and you move all that $1 million to a Roth, you technically could convert that $1 million over to the Roth today. And after just hearing my little rant right there, you're probably thinking, I probably should do that. And I would actually tell you that's probably not always the best case. We're not typically telling everyone to Roth convert everything they have in 1 year. We're typically telling them to do it over a period of time, and really through software and calculations and reports, able to see how much should we really do per year to find that optimal amount. It's typically what we're recommending for our clients. So we would just advise you to really run those numbers. If you're working with an advisor, make sure they're running those numbers. We see too many times where advisors aren't taking that extra step. They don't do tax planning. They don't really do that 5-pillar approach to retirement planning. they maybe just do investment management. And so if that's an advisor you're working with, I would highly encourage you either reach out to us and we can help you or try to guide you to someone who can if we can't help you in the best way. But that's just what our advice is work with an advisor who's going to do full work for you. You may be paying a full cost for an advisor and not getting all the value. This is an opportunity where you can find an advisor, pay the same cost, but get more service and get what you actually need. Someone who's specialized in retirement planning, but also in tax planning is what we are always trying to encourage people of between the ages of this 55 to 70. Work with someone who knows your situation, someone who's planned hundreds of retirements, who knows exactly what you're going through. So hopefully that advice can be helpful for you. And on that point, I'll transition to the other reason why I think this in-service withdrawal can make sense for many people is now you can get that professional help with that life savings that you've accumulated. Within your 401k, you may not have the opportunity to work with a financial planner at that time. And if you do, you may have to pay a flat fee for that advisor. And so, you're basically paying a cost, but they're not being able to actively manage your portfolio because in the 401k, again, it's limited. They could still give you recommendations of what to do within the 401k, but they're picking from a very slim, basically 5 to 20 options is typically what we're seeing there. This is an opportunity for you to take the $1 million, move it to a financial planner who could manage that money for you. They can invest it like we talked about earlier, find what amount and protect, what amount in growth, making sure they can provide you an income plan so that when you do retire, you're ahead of the game. Because there's something called sequence of returns risk that we're seeing for retirees, that if you retire 5 years before the market goes down or 5 years after the market goes down, then you're going to put a lot of stress on your portfolio when you go to take withdrawals from that for income. So that's something we're always trying to get ahead of that. So if you're planning on retiring at 63 or 65, 59 and a half is the time to start getting going on building out that income plan to make sure your investments are structured in the right way so you can start taking from it without the chance of market loss, without the risk of taxes as we've talked about. And so this is an optimal time for you to go seek out professional help and making sure your life savings is good to go moving forward. Don't make any mistakes moving forward. Make sure everything is in line and the boat's rowing in the right direction, right? You've probably heard the saying with a plane, if it's 1 or 2 degrees off, you're going to end up in a different state. So making sure you're going straight without any risk and without any mistakes is ultimately everyone's goal. And so you can find ways to mitigate that and plan for that by just being proactive and getting ahead of it. And so that's why I think professional advice can become very important for you, especially if you're not doing this every day. If you're not checking your investments every day, if you're not looking at the tax code every year and how that's going to change for you, you may be missing opportunities. And so, when it comes to retirement planning, it's a lot more complex than your early years. We like to think of the mountain analogy. All your life you've been working and saving, and you've probably done a great job up to this point, but now we've got to plan for something different. We now have Social Security. We now have Medicare. We now have, potentially, Social Security is taxable now. Medicare premiums can cost something now. Roth conversions, like we talked about. Picking which investments we want to be invested in now to invest like a retiree versus like someone in their 30s. And so all of these things can be helpful to have a professional team to really serve you. And, I know I said, find a financial planner, but really what we advise is work with a team, and I mentioned earlier, but comprehensive approach. And so if you can do that, now you're going to make sure that you can make sure everything's covered in one place versus going to 3 or 4 different professionals to get everything done. So hopefully that advice can be helpful for you. And the other just thing I want to make sure I'm clear on this in-service withdrawal is if you're still working, you can still contribute to your 401k. So we get that question a lot of like, I don't want to move my 401k out and not be able to take advantage of the company match that they're providing to me. I mean, that's free money. And I would 100% agree. We would never want to miss out on that. And that's because if you do a in-service withdrawal, you can still take advantage of the company match. Basically, all you're doing is moving your principal balance. So again, if you have $1 million, you move $1 million to the IRA, your 401k just now shows $0, but that will start to grow as your contributions from your paycheck continue to come in, as the market continues to grow. And then when you do officially retire, you would just move over that balance to your IRA, and then you would just continue planning, have it all in one place, and live the retirement that you've been dreaming of all these years. So hopefully this video is helpful for you. If you do want to explore further, I know I mentioned it earlier, of looking for a team to really help you ongoing on more of these comprehensive concepts that we cover in these videos, feel free to reach out to our team. We specialize in retirement planning for those 55 to 70 and those who are in or near that time. And so feel free to reach out to us. We can have a conversation. I just want to be very transparent. We have a lot of people reach out to us. We cannot help every single person that reaches out to us, but we try to at least have a conversation with every person that reaches out to us. And if we can't guide you, at least point you in the right direction to make sure you know where to go or what to do to make sure you're getting the right advice moving forward. So that's really this whole idea of doing this podcast and this YouTube video, is to make sure that we can educate people. And so we've had a really awesome platform, due to all of our subscribers and viewers, that we've been able to reach a lot of people that are reaching out to us, and that's ultimately what our goal is here. So we'd love to extend that offer to you to make sure that you're getting the right help. And so just go ahead in the description below. There's an opportunity for you to schedule a time with us and put some information there, and then we'll be able to schedule time, and you'll be able to meet with one of our advisors here to see how we can help you further. So with that being said, we'll see you on the next episode of Joe Knows Retirement, and enjoy the rest of your day.